Hi there, I'm Jim Raffle,
And I'm Shelby Sapusik.
and this is the Jim and Shelby Show, All Things Print Podcast. So this episode is about a single word, right, Shelby?
Right, it is.
What is
That
that word?
word is change.
Change. So
Yeah.
we can start with, we are recording this episode of the podcast using a new platform, Riverside
New to
FM,
us.
for those
New to us.
new to us.
Yeah.
And it's uh it's going to be a hot mess, but that's okay.
As if all our other ones aren't a hot mess, right?
You make it okay. There's no change there.
You're no
You can see that Shelby has a brand new office. Well,
brand new fake office.
but this is my real office, and you'll notice that it's clean and empty of almost everything except a few papers over here.
Now that's a huge change.
Well, it's the beginning. It's the beginning of a new change.
I meant just
Kind
being
of
clean.
maybe.
Like your office being clean. That's a change.
Hmm. Okay. We'll show them your office some episode. Anyway, the reason it is so spotless is that this house is now on the market and being shown one or two times a day. So hopefully within a week or two, it will be sold. And sometime late this summer, my wife and I will become homeless. Well, temporarily. And until our home in Florida is done being built. But yeah, so it's a big change moving from here to Florida. Not retiring. Let me repeat that one more time. Not retiring. um, and I think we've talked about it on the podcast before. We have an office here in the Milwaukee area now that will be featured in a future podcast episode, and we've got some fun events coming related to that. So we've got that going on. Uh, I was just in Florida looking at the new house, and I've got some ideas for potential in-person training that we can host down there. And so a lot of you have been asking about coming to us for training, and we've been listening. And so I think in the coming 6 to 12 months there'll be some answers to those questions. So that's change too, right?
Right. So, and we're going basically from 2 locations to 3 locations because I'm still in North Carolina. So I think we're going to the one that's going to be in Waukesha, Wisconsin, which isn't too far from Milwaukee. Uh, that is going to be kind of our experience center, for lack of a better term, but there's still going to be Jacob in our office is going to be in that office. I'm still going to be here in North Carolina, and then Jim is going to be in the Sarasota area. So, what's nice about that is, we've covered the Midwest and Northeast and Southeast pretty well here.
So the other thing about the Waukesha facility is there's really a print lab there as well. We do some research and development work and some testing and validation work for a couple clients, and we do that based in that facility, which used to be in my basement. And we figured that the new owners probably didn't want a business being run out of their basement. And so we've got this office, which is kind of cool. Colorcasters has always been virtual and not had a physical real place where people would come, and now we do. We have a very nice office. It's turned out actually nicer than we expected. It's not what we were ultimately looking for, but it's what we found. And I think there's, you mentioned experience center. There is room there to do training of maybe 8, maybe 6 to 8, maybe 10 if you really squeezed people in. I'm thinking 6 to 8 is the ideal number. Um, and we're gonna try it out. We're gonna try running some training there and do some training type events there with some of our partners. And it's all got to get sorted out, but we're starting to let the cat out of the bag here a little bit. And
Well,
it's
I'm
I'm
excited
looking
to
for,
come see it next weekend. Is it? Yeah, next weekend.
well, yeah, that's when hopefully we'll film an episode there so people can kind of see what we're talking about, right? Um, Yep. And so lots going on around that. Um, I want to play with some of the new features of Riverside FM because now we can do this. And I'm going to go
So
over
Riverside's
here.
the platform that we're experimenting with. We didn't mention that before.
I
Um,
did mention Riverside FM. But so now we can do stuff like this where you can still see us and you can kind of do these things in Zoom, but supposedly Riverside's better for this. And so this is our events page, upcoming events that Shelby keeps very up to date, and we do talk about sometimes, but I just thought I'd run through it. Shelby tracked down the fact that they are doing a interview, or they did an interview at Printing United with me talking about G7, so you can watch the whole thing right here. We are doing G7 expert certification training at SPSI in Minneapolis next week, and because we're recording on Thursday, and that starts next Tuesday. And Shelby will be there as well. And so you'll be able to run into both of us. I think you could probably still sign up if you really wanted to, if you watch this in time. And then we'll be at, there's actually another G7. Oh, we can't talk about that one. And then we'll be at UV Energize September 8th to 10th. Hopefully, I will be traveling from Sarasota since I bought an airline ticket that says I am, but we'll see. We'll see if that happens. And that's always a super fun event. We really enjoy that. And and then right after that, what, 2 weeks later, is Printing United in Las Vegas, where we have all kinds of stuff going on. And I was
Yeah,
going to
I'm
say
gonna
we already
be
talked about that on a previous episode, but the previous episode I'm thinking of was this episode, which we used a different platform for, and we didn't like the outcome of. So I guess we can talk about it all again.
right. I'm going to be filling out both UV Energize and Printing United's schedule a bit more on this page and putting it on our personal calendars as well. Um, I can tell you that for UV Energize, the Tuesday before, this is pretty much how it always is. The Tuesday before the show floor actually opens is basically an educational day. And I believe we're going to be speaking with Michael Gass of PDS Equipment, and we're going to be talking about spot color optimization and best practices within Rasterlink, which is Mamaki's RIP. And then of course we'll be there on the show floor for 2 days, and we'll be there at the networking events. Oh, Nashville's so much fun for this event, so if you're around, please stop in. I did actually share on our social just today the link to UV Energize. There's still openings if you want to get registered. It's a great event, but they do close it off at some point, so it's not a free for all. They don't keep on adding. They close it at, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like 400 or 500, but they do close the attendance at some point, the registration, I should say. And then for Printing United, we will be, well, I know I'm going to be there all week. I think you will be for most of it, Jim. Uh, we're both going to be involved with G7 Plus Exchange on Tuesday, the 23rd, I think it is, the day before the show opens. I'm not positive about that date. Let me check real quick. 22nd, sorry about that.
I was going to say, I think it's the 22nd right now.
Yep, it's the 22nd. And then the next, I'm actually speaking at G7 Plus Exchange this time. I have a little 15-minute spiel on creative and G Plus, G7 Plus.
I have a
And
question. You should let me edit your slides though before you present them.
no, no, no.
So let me tell the story. So last year I got to do a 15-minute presentation, and I had this great slide deck, and I ran it by Shelby, and she edited it, and then I went up there on stage, and I used the version that she didn't edit, and she was in the audience, and she was so happy with me afterwards.
Well, that was because in bright red type, one of the big things about G7 that they say over and over and over and over again in the class is stabilize the system. So you had it in bright red type at the top of this slide, and you spelled stabilize wrong. So it was just,
Well, it was I didn't really spell it wrong. It was a typo.
that's what spelling it wrong is. But okay. Anyway, no,
And then after
I'll
you're
have my own slides,
when you're
thanks.
done presenting, I'm going to be doing one of the roundtables. So they have a cool thing there.
I did
Yeah,
that last year.
yeah, I'm doing one. I can't remember what it is. I just got
Okay.
my notes about it, and those
Oh,
are
cool.
interesting because there's an hour of roundtables, but each one is only 20 minutes. So there'll be like, I think there's 6 or 8 roundtables, 8 I think. Anyway, there's more than 3, and so what you get to do as an attendee is in 20-minute increments you get to pick 3 different topic areas that you want to go and be with an expert and a group of attendees. And so my only job is to facilitate the conversation. It's not another presentation, it's not slides, it's not scripted at all. I have one prompt question to get things going, and that's it. And then it's up to the audience to keep it going and for me to answer questions if there's questions that can't be answered among the group. But it's really it was one of the most well received portions of the G7 plus exchange last year, and so they've actually expanded it a little bit. It's I'm excited to be part of that, and I like that you got to move over to the presentation side, and hopefully next year they'll rotate other people in because we have a
Yep.
huge there's a
We
lot of expertise in the G7 plus expert core, and I like that they're rotating people through and hopefully they don't need me to present next year. Hopefully there's other people who step up and are willing to do it, and I can just attend. I mean, that's that. Ideally, we don't want the same people up at the front every year. It doesn't really
agreed.
help us. So
Agreed.
yeah.
So the show opens the next day.
And then you've
Uh,
got you don't have anything going on. There's nothing special with your attendance this
nope,
year.
nope, nope. I'm just an all-star again. So last year I was an all-star, and the best way I can describe what the all-stars is, it's a team of people from all over the world. And we are advocates for the show. Last year we were wearing baseball jerseys, to signify that we're a team, and we're improving upon our presence this year. I can't spill all the beans, but I do know one of the things is that it was hard to find us, or because we were all over the place, and a lot of us have educational sessions just like you and I will have one, and so we can just always be on the show floor. We will have a booth this year, and I think that's going to be a really important part of the All Star team, because you're going to be able to find someone on the All Stars team at all times, because someone's going to be manning that booth, and they're going to have a place where they're going to be able to do podcast recordings. So I'm hoping you and I will do a Jim and Shelby show, or a portion of a Jim and Shelby show. From that booth at some point. We're going to be involved all 3 days of the show. We have some new networking events. I'm going to be listing all of these things on our events page and letting people know about it as I am able to, but we're still going through all the details right now as a group.
Excellent, excellent. That sounds
And
great.
then I should mention that you and I have a presentation outside of that on Wednesday, September 23rd at 4 p.m. local time on DTF color principles. And we have, I guess that'll kind of be probably an end of the day presentation for the first day, but that's fun too.
Oh,
So we have that to look
Shelby,
forward to.
I found something.
Good.
I did. I'm going to share something.
I'm afraid. What is it?
You're afraid?
A little bit.
You should be afraid. You should be very afraid. All right. So Shelby was talking about being an all-star.
No. What'd you do?
What? What would you be concerned about? What would I ever do to embarrass you?
Oh, no, that's okay.
I know. There's Shelby with Ford Bowers.
Yep.
And
There's my
that's
jersey from last year.
she's got her jersey on, and so it's really a very cool experience for you, and it's an honor that they've asked you back. And so I just wanted people to know. I'm sure the jerseys will be different this year, but if you are at the show and you're looking for help just figuring out what's going on, there'll be a lot of people there, but the people in the jerseys kind of stand out, and I am sure that if you stopped any of them and asked for help, or trying to find something, they'd at least be able to maybe direct you the right way. I think that's part of the goal, right? So
Yeah, like I said, advocates for the show. We're also going to be very involved in. We were last year too. The educational day, when the
mhm.
students come, Students Day, which is usually the Friday, the last day of the show. We're part of the big group doing the tours and visiting different booths. I'm hoping to actually do that this year, and because I had some obligations last year that I wasn't able to do that. And plus it's Vegas. This is going to be fun. You know, I love
And I will be
Vegas.
there to answer. You mentioned earlier that I will be there the entire time. I'm flying
Are
in
you okay?
Monday. Yeah, flying in Monday. My plans are to fly in Monday, fly home somewhere on Saturday,
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm doing.
I may go home Friday, depending what's going on with my new home at that point, because it literally could potentially fall right around closing time for the new house.
Mm, sure.
Because I found out this week that that's now very, very likely sometime mid to late September. So,
Okay. Well,
but whatever, it is what it is. We'll figure it all out. Yeah, so lots of change. I mean, that's really the theme of this episode is lots and lots of change. And you know what? I kind of want to close it out with what I do when I'm in the middle of change, and maybe what you do when you're in the middle of change. Um, and then I think I kind of want to go back to a one more question for both of us before we close out, just as we approach. I think Nashville is our next, maybe, yeah, Nashville is our next big city we're going to be in. So give some thought to what your favorite event or thing to do in Nashville is that's not part of UV Energized, like one of the one of the places on Broadway to go, one of someplace for dinner, etc. So um, when I'm stuck in the middle of change and a lot of change, I have to remind myself of a couple things. I don't know how it rolls for the rest of you, but for me, when I am stuck right in the middle of change, and I am right now, and a lot of things are changing all at the same time. I just have to constantly remind myself that these aren't things I have to do; these are things I get to do, because it the to do list can become massively overwhelming and too long. And first of all, I can only do one thing at a time. I don't care how much I try to multitask. I'm still only doing one thing well at a time, or two things horribly. And so I just have to remind myself that whatever that, because some of the things on the list I want to do, and other things on the list I don't want to do. And
hmm
I just have to remind myself that all of the things, whether I want to do them or I don't want to do them, I get to do because this is where I wanted to be, right? I mean, I didn't, this is all change I chose. I wasn't, none of this change was thrust upon me by someone else. And that's a different conversation and a different story. But for where I am right now, I just have to constantly remind myself I get to do this. I don't have to do it. And it really does. I mean, it's just like, people talk about flipping the script. That's all I'm doing. I'm just replacing the word have to, or the phrase have to, with get to, in my head. And it's really helped. So what do you do to get through change, Shelby?
Well, like you, a lot of change for me usually happens all at the same time or in the same year or whatever. Both personally and professionally. For instance, I got married this year already, and we're celebrating that marriage. We got married on January 1st in a small situation, and we're going to have a bigger celebration in August. We've had, changes in the house and changes in our schedules, my husband and I, and I'm going through some changes. Colorcast is going through some changes professionally, and I'm going through some changes professionally that I can't quite talk about yet. But and also in the midst of all that, I'm looking ahead to 2027, which we're basically halfway through 2026 already. And I'm thinking about 2027 and it being the 10-year anniversary of Colorcasters being in existence as a company. And one of the big changes I see going through is not only bolstering this new office and new learning experience center, but also I'm probably going to see a big revamp in our website, and it's time to make a lot of those changes. And marketing, I have some ideas for change too. So there's a lot of things in the back of my head that are changes coming, and or already here. And the way that I deal with all that is, like you said, one thing at a time. Like, what is the most important thing that needs to happen? And also, just to remind myself not to be adverse to change and just embrace it, because it's going to happen whether I like it or not. And the more I fight it, the harder it's going to be to go with the change. And now I'm kind of talking metaphorically there, but that's I'm just a big proponent that, most of the time things change for the better. And even if they don't, you can find the bright spots.
Yep. So Nashville, places to go, people to see, things to do. Go ahead, you can go first, unless you're not ready.
No, go ahead. I want to see what you say.
Um, I I like Blake Shelton's joint, Red something,
Is
where
it
we,
red oak, red?
yeah, yep. and we've eaten on the rooftop restaurant there, I think 3 or 4 times now. It's not the fanciest place in the world. It's maybe not even the best food in the world. It's solid. What I like is it's the location. It's, your rooftop, dead center of Broadway with honky tonks all around you, and
All red.
Old Red, yeah. And it's the original Old Red, not the one in Vegas.
Right. Yeah, in
um,
Nashville. Right.
and it's a really authentic place. There's live music, upstairs. It's usually acoustic upstairs. I think it's always acoustic upstairs. It's usually like 1 or 2 people up there, and then downstairs they have a big band. But it's just a really chill place to hang out, and because UV Energize is a really intense event. It goes nonstop, wall to wall, from the moment we get off the plane till we leave, on Friday. And I feel like those times when we sneak away for dinner, which is, kind of like Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and sometimes Thursday. Thursday sometimes it's just eating. Thursday's like a functional meal, but Tuesday and Wednesday it's like a nice escape from the crazy for a couple hours. And so that's my place.
So my place, you probably already have guessed. I have this affinity to finding things off the beaten path.
I didn't guess.
And Jim can attest to that. And you may look at the outside of places and be like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" And on this last trip that Jim and I were on, we were trying to find a brunch place, and I took us off the highway a little bit, and it was remember it was called like Square One or something like that, and the
Yeah.
brunch. It was just, oh my gosh, it was just amazing, and it was not something I would have normally looked for, but it turned out to be great. Well, there's a place in Nashville, and it's not exactly on Broadway. It's like a block or so off Broadway.
It's
It's
five
called,
steps off Broadway.
okay.
It's
But
literally just around the corner. Yeah.
did you know though, Teddy's Tavern? Okay, that's the place I'm talking about, and you would think of it as a dive bar, and I guess that it is,
It is a
but
it is a dive
And
bar.
but supposedly it has good food. We've never actually had the food there. We usually just go for a cocktail before, we go out to dinner or before we go to a networking event. I love the live music they have there. The guitarists are a lot of fun. They'll take requests. We still haven't been up to the roof of Teddy's, but I hear that's really cool. And here's a fun fact. Did you know that where Teddy's is, that's the oldest building on Broadway?
I did know that. I remember
I didn't know
we
that.
discussed that, and I know that one building behind it, even further down off of Broadway, is one of the steakhouses we like, and we've had dinner there once with
The name, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. I can't think of it's they have one in Vegas too, and so it's like you're right. That's a nice area right there too. I do like the that would be one of my top three, even though I had totally forgotten about it. But as soon as you mentioned it, I'm like, oh yeah, yep, definitely Teddy's it's always a stop. So
I have to get a new Teddy's Tavern t-shirt this year because my old one got lost. I don't know. Probably in the move or something, but I need a new t-shirt.
all right, well, let's wrap this episode, and we will see you all again in a week or two. And I think that's going to be an episode where we unveil the new Waukesha office.
Okay.
All right.